Hi everyone. Today we're going to be going over milk pails. So let's get started. So Farmer John has received an order for exactly M units of milk. This is the constraint. And basically his milking machine has just become broken and all he has is three milk pails of size X, Y, and M. And they're in that order for size. So basically M is greater than Y and Y is greater than X. And all three pails are initially empty, and using these pails, he can perform any number of the following two types of operations. He can fill the smallest pail, size X, completely to the top with X units of milk and pour it into the M size pail, as long as it doesn't overflow. And he can do or he can do the same thing for the Y size pail, right? So pour it into the M size pail, make sure it doesn't overflow. And so he realizes that he might not be able to completely fill the M-size pail, so we need to help him determine the maximum amount of milk he can get into the pail, the M-size pail to be specific. And basically, in this problem, the input format, the only input that we get is X, Y, and M, right? X being the smallest, Y being the medium, and M being the biggest bucket. And for the output, we have to just basically output the maximum amount of milk that Farmer John can add to the M size pail. So here we get an X size of 17, a Y size of 25, and an M size of 77. And as you can see, we can the maximum amount of milk that we can put into M is 76. So we do that by filling up the X size of 17 three times and the Y size of once, and then we pour all that into the M size. Now this might be a little, it might seem easy at first, but it's a little harder than it looks. And so let me actually just draw it out for you guys so you can visualize it. Okay, so your first thought might be to just you know, fill in the M bucket with the a bunch of Y buckets, right? Because the Y is the bigger bucket of the two. So if you're trying to fill it up to the top, you would think that you need to fill it up with a bunch of Ys, right? But that's actually not the case. So we want to get as close to size M as possible. So we're going to have to use a combination of these. And we can't see the inputs, so what we're going to have to do is something called a complete search, where we just go through every single possible combination of buckets um, of, of X and Y, right? So that's what we're going to be doing in the code. So let's go ahead and start programming now. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna first explain what I have here. So I have my static variables X, Y, and M, right? That's gonna hold the bucket sizes. And I have my buffer reader and my print writer. I set that up here. I close them after I call the initialize and solve method. In the initialize method, I take in my X, Y, and M as input, and I store them into the static variables that I've created here. So pretty straightforward for initialization. Um, Now we can move on to the solve method. So what I want to do is I just want to go through every single combination of X and Y buckets that I can do. So like two X buckets, one Y bucket, like three Y buckets, one X bucket. You get the idea. So how I'm going to do that is obviously through for loops, right? We could use a while loop. However, it's for loops to just have more clearly set boundaries, obviously, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for int x c, short for x count, equals 0. And then that's going to be, now we don't really have a set boundary other than the combined milk amount has to be less than size m in the end, right? So we're going to do that. So we're going to do x count times x is less than or equal to m. And then basically what this is going to do is um, we have our x count. So we're counting how many x size buckets that we're putting into the m size bucket here. So this starts at 0, right? And then we multiply by x to get like how much milk we have basically. So we have a bucket size of 17, right? And if we use this bucket as our x here, and we have 0 buckets of x, then we have 0 milk. If we have 2, then we'll have 34 milk units. You guys get the idea. So we're just making sure that that doesn't go over the limit, which is 77 in this problem. What we're going to do is we're also going to iterate through the y buckets. So we're going to do int y count equals 0. And then here we're going to check that both of them combined are not over the limit, right? Because we want to check both of them. We don't want to check one because like if we only check one at a time, then it could be like y equals 75 and x equals like 76. But obviously we need to find the most effective solution using both of the buckets. So we're going to we're going to check both of them at the same time. So right, we're going to do x count times x plus y count times y is greater than or equal to m, and y plus plus, or y count plus plus, sorry. Right? So these two for loops will get us every single combination of y and x, or yeah, the number of buckets for y and x that will not exceed size m. Okay. And then what we're going to do here is we need a integer to store our answer in, so we're going to make that right now. And we're going to say if, so if we've made it up until this point, it means that we have like a count or an amount of milk that has not surpassed the limit here. And what we're going to say is if x count times x plus y count times y, so it's just counting up the buckets we have for x and y, and then seeing how much milk we have exactly, just calculating that. And we're going to say if that's greater than answer, then answer is now equal to that. Okay. And we don't need to check if it exceeds m because, you know, if we've made it to this point, we've already checked that condition. So pretty straightforward code. And then all we need to do is just output our answer. So we do out.println and then answer. And then once we do this, we can go ahead and submit. So yeah, as you guys can see, it passes all the test cases, no problem. And this was milk problems. This was a complete search problem. And if you have any questions about the problem, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll try to answer. And thanks for watching.